Hello everyone. I got another video today. I've been wanting to post this for maybe about a week, but I haven't had a chance really to get to making the video because honestly the last week's been pretty bad. We've had the flu hit the house and a couple other things. A little food poisoning incident happened, and yeah, so I've been a little out of it, but in the meantime I was able to get some work done. Not as much as I would have liked as far as, amount of work done, but I got a lot of good stuff here. So you can see here, hopefully, the new artwork I've got set up and running here for the game. Actually, it wasn't all that hard to get it up and, all up and done, but fun fact for those of you wondering, yes, this has all been made in Microsoft Paint. And I actually exported it to another piece of software to get the alpha channel done, so you have that kind of that transparent background. So like, let's see here, see at the top of the grass how that doesn't actually have a white background. That's what I'm talking about there, the alpha channel. A couple things that have been added. So before, the chickens, when the egg exploded, it would have this kind of red particle effect. Now it actually has actual little Gibs, little eggshell pieces that'll fly out, and they each have their own little piece of physics. The little crate with the eyeball here, you can destroy him and you'll just have pieces of wood that'll fall around. Again, each piece has its own separate physics. Does despawn after about a second. It's around long enough that you can see the effect. It kind of looks cool, but it's not going to take up too much memory space. And I know there's modern computers that got a lot of memory, but there's no reason to overload it, I personally think. So 1 second seems good enough. What else happened? Oh yeah, so we've got the background images here. Got the hills with these like little fields of flowers in front of them. You can see that better over here. So I do have a scrolling background now. It uses Parallax effect, which is where objects that are further away from you look like they're barely moving at all, versus those closer, which look like they're moving faster. So adds a nice little depth illusion to everything. It does do this parallaxing effect on the y-axis as well. So when you jump, these fields of flowers will kind of do this kind of splitting thing to look like you're above them. And whenever you get closer, they kind of come together. So that should be useful in later levels with, say, like there's a layer of water. I can make it look like you're going underwater with the background besides just the the layer that the player will actually be running around in or swimming in or whatever. I haven't figured all that out yet, but it's there for whenever that happens. I don't have any other layers for clouds or anything like that. You can see it's a little pretty bare the higher up you go. Some I'm going to add later on, but right now it it looks good. So let's jump on in so I can show you some of that stuff. Alright, so let's check out the parallaxing first. And if you're looking, you can probably tell what I was talking about there. The objects that are closer are moving a little bit faster. Go over here where there's more open space. They're moving a little bit faster compared to the hills in the background over there. Now let me go ahead and zoom this out so you can actually see the effect that it's working with. So over here on the right, under this hierarchy, I have player 1 backgrounds highlighted. Notice how I have 3 hills pictures, and each separate layer here is the same thing. It's basically 3 of the same picture copied 3 times. So what happens is when the player moves to the left or the right, depending which direction they're moving in, the either far right or the far left image will suddenly flip over, and that what used to be on the far left or right will suddenly become the middle. So the idea is that you want that illusion that that image is constantly scrolling, when in reality it's just 3 images doing this kind of flip effect. And you'll go ahead and see, I'll put it on the edge here so you can actually see the popping happen. And I'll be controlling him through the left. Okay. Whoops. Let me disable the player 2 background so you can actually see it. There we go. Alright, so you're seeing how it's moving there. It's scrolling, and the flip just happened. And it does that with every single layer. So again, in game, you won't really notice anything, but here's the background, here's the stuff in the background where all that's happening. Let me go ahead and grab one of those chickens. Have them maximize the play area so you can see the Gibs, the effect. So grab this guy. And there you go. Actual eggshell spawn. And as you can see, they have their own little physics there. It's a little bit of vector math going on. Beforehand, they would their velocity would be perpendicular to the wall, but it kind of looked good. But whenever it hit the the normal ground floor, the egg would just kind of pop up, and that looked dumb. And eggs don't really react like that anyway. So now instead of flying out from the wall, the eggshells just kind of hug it a little bit, like you would expect, and they kind of fly away whenever they hit the ground. So it looks more realistic. Probably not something most people are going to pay a lot of attention to, but it's that little attention to detail that I kind of like. I enjoy using it, or using it, seeing it. But oh yeah, you can actually harm the chickens now. So you got a little particle effect, those feather sprites that I made up. That just kind of, chicken just poofs away. I find it a little humorous. And here's that crate. There are all those parts. So as you can see, each piece had its own physics, is moving around. I originally wanted them to, each little piece to kind of collide with each other, but that kind of ended up with the effect of you just have each piece just standing there and nothing would happen. So having them ignore themselves gives you a better looking effect where it actually falls apart and goes on the ground. So you have your realism versus what looks good in the game. And I mean, there's nothing real about, realistic about this. I mean, there's chicken firing a million eggs out of his butt, for crying out loud, but just those small little touches, I think. What else? So when I was trying to do this Gibs effect, I was having some trouble figuring out exactly how I was gonna, do the effect. Initially, I was thinking maybe there's a way I can have the sprite dynamically, deform and fall apart. The more I looked into that, the more I was like, wow, that's a lot of work for, a little bit of payoff. So I decided to, kind of do a little trick, which honestly is probably faster as far as, processing requirements and everything is concerned. Not like it matters with a, a modern computer, but. So here are the Gibs. It's its own little separate object. Let me pull up the egg. So you have your egg object here and you have your Gibs. What I ended up doing when I just took that egg sprite that I made and I cut it up into different pieces. So each one of these little pieces, go ahead and pull it out here, is its own separate image file. As you can see. So it's its own separate image file. Put it back together. And what happens is when that egg hits, it collides with an object, the main egg will despawn, but at the same time, this Gibs effect one will spawn in. And if you look over here on the right under this little hierarchy menu that I'm kind of circling, each egg object has, these little things here, colliders and rigid bodies, and that's basically what allows the unity physics to affect an object. So each little piece of the egg has its own physics. Likewise, go to the Gibs here. Each piece of the crate has the exact same thing going on as well. So if you're ever doing something like this and you're wondering, how do I make Gibs for something? Easiest way to do it is probably just, you have your main object, whenever it gets destroyed, instantly spawn your Gibs version of it and, have some kind of timer set to where it will despawn. In my case, have a second layer or however long, indefinitely if you want to, depending on what you want to do with your game. So that's my little quick tutorial thing on that. But yeah, let me go ahead and turn on the player 2 backgrounds before I forget. Oh wait, they're still on. Never mind. But yeah, so that's that. Might go ahead and start a little 2-player thing here. Hey Jarrett, wanna play? Yes. Come on. What do you mean not yet? It's now or never.
one more thing on Parallax, so.
Oh, that's cool. Well, you said you wanted to be in another video, so let's go ahead and set this up. Let me make sure player 2 is turned on.
Yeah, we're only in one video, right? Both of us were only in one.
You ready? You ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then make it like, come back here, chicken. Hey, I'm pushing the wrong button.
Alright, so it's not quite rendering properly, but if you guys notice in the corner there's like a little health bar. Ever since I added the Gibs to my base stuff, whoops, I never assigned a set of Gibs to the player models, so even if we run out of health, there probably won't be much happening. How the heck did you get up there?
I didn't jump on an egg this time. This time I just bounced.
Well, I can't get you when you're up there.
I can get you though.
I'll go ahead and grab a round chicken so it's a little... Oh, you killed the chicken. Grab a round chicken so it's a little easier for people to see. Let's see if I can fire from over here. Nope, you're way over there. Oh, come on, you gotta get down there so we can actually play. Oop, land on my head.
You get away from me. They want me to kill the big fat chicken wherever it went.
No, it's not in here anymore.
Oh, really, Daddy? You get away from me. I want to go up there.
But as you guys can see, both players have that parallax effect going on, completely independent of each other. So that's why, if you notice in my hierarchy, there are two sets of backgrounds: player 1 background and player 2. So each camera is set up to render. You know, the player 1 camera is only set to render the player 1 background, and the player 2 camera the player 2 background. So I've done it before where it's where it's just the one camera or just the one background, to say the least. So.
Oh no. How did I get up here?
It's the state of the game for now. We're about to turn off the camera, so let's wave by real quick, Jared. Oh, you're not even. Oh.
No,
there's your mug. Alright. Anyway, thanks for watching, and pending any sicknesses and other shenanigans that may happen, I might be able to get some more updates to you guys. So, see ya.